private pipeline companies can build a pipeline in your backyard, or through your drinking water supply. Thanks to the abuse by FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, of the government's power of eminent domain.
The Appalachian Basin in West Pennsylvania holds some of the world's largest shale deposits. A fleet of ships would create a virtual transatlantic pipeline to supply INEOS's European businesses with the US gas they desperately needed. The only problem was how to get the gas to the coast, 300 miles away. And so a deal was struck with oil company Sunoco to pipe the gas to a facility west of Philadelphia.
Eminent domain allows the government to take a person's land if it is for public use, such as to build public roads, schools, and parks. But FERC, carrying on the US-American tradition of the stealing of indigenous lands for exploitative use, allows the taking of a person's land for the private profit of pipeline and oil and gas companies.
It was forest land that was actually under a conservation plan, and that's forest land connected to our homestead. And so now what's happening is that is being turned into an industrial zone.
We've gone a legal route. I mean, when they took us to court for eminent domain, we fought that.
The oil and gas taken from underneath land is not always sold to people to heat their homes or keep the lights on. Much of it is sold for export by private companies for private profit.
8 ships will make their way from Marcus Hook on the banks of the Delaware River, loaded with a cargo set to re-energize European and UK manufacturing.
Like, they never tried to hide that fact until people stood up to them and said, no, I will not, sign this easement agreement. The company had to start taking people to court and suing using eminent domain. Then they changed their tune and they started putting out all this stuff about how it's going to benefit the local markets and local people and this and that. And, we already know that they're working with European petrochemical companies to, move the shale gas to Europe.
A new era of gas transportation has begun as the dragons breathe new life into the European chemicals industry.
INEOS isn't the type of company that will sit back and wait to see what happens. It's the type of company that will be proactive and define its own future.
Off of exploitation. That's how billions get made. Like, you take from somebody else. You take from the earth without giving anything back. That's the direction that Pennsylvania is taking things in favor of corporations.
We have at least 3 legal avenues that we're still pursuing. But yet, they can come and they can work, they can cut trees down, they can put pipeline in, they can drill through the wetlands with, impunity at this point.
He said the 2 words eminent domain, which made my husband's head explode.
They start sending out letters. If you don't sign this easement within 30 days, we will proceed to use eminent domain to condemn your property.
It became apparent that I wasn't going to sign. Then they threatened me twice with eminent domain.
Protesters marched directly up to a drill perched along the Conestoga River.
Lancaster County does not think that the pipeline is welcome here, and Williams is not welcome here.
Respect these spirits, respect the land. I think it's an insult. I would definitely not go to other people's sites and try to destroy their home for the sake of money. As a tribal leader, I have to stay here. So by all means, they're going to arrest me, so be it.
They are using us as their bargaining chips to export liquefied natural gas to Asia at the expense of Southern Oregon.
Y'all want to try to come and move into Louisiana? Y'all want to try to think about, try to gain our trust? Y'all can't even gain the trust over here in Pennsylvania. What make y'all want to come to Louisiana,
The agency says refineries in the region already have sufficient supplies and little capacity for processing more crude. And it says Minnesota's demand for gasoline appears unlikely to increase over the long term.
This is going to cross the Missouri and the Mississippi rivers, which 18 million people directly get their water from these two rivers.
It is up to the citizens in the community to make sure that their water and their air stay healthy.
So why can these oil and gas and pipeline companies use eminent domain for private profit rather than the public good?
Primarily, FERC is a rubber stamp agency, unfortunately funded by the projects it approves. So in order for it to keep existing, it has to keep approving projects.
FERC is an incredibly abusive agency that is totally in the pockets of the pipeline industry. They always put pipelines over people, pipelines over the environment and our natural resources. They are not to be trusted.
Is the private profit of one company at the cost of climate change, clean air and water, and people's land for the public good?